Guys, I'm here at Samsung Unpacked. Now, this is a day before the show starts, and of course, I want to talk to you guys about all of the cool new things that are coming to the S24 series. We're talking obviously from the standard 6.2-inch S24 to the 6.7-inch S24 Plus. That obviously gets some of the really cool display technology, 120 hertz, QHD Plus, similar to the Ultra. The Ultra, of course, has a lot of optimizations. All of them are powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with a lot of AI focus this year from Samsung. And this is something that's different than what we've seen the years before. This is TK, and let's go ahead and talk about all of the AI functions and the brand new features of the S24 series from Unpacked in San Jose. We're going to start off by looking at the different stations that they have in here. They have basically a dedicated area for every single specific function. On top of the fact that they also have some really cool cases, we're going to get a chance to talk about them. First and foremost, the US variant of the S24 series are going to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. That's going to be across the border. The different configuration with the display size and of course the technology going from 6.2 inches on the standard 24 at Full HD Plus all the way up to obviously the big boy here with the QHD 6.8 inch display with 120 hertz refresh rate. That's going to be one of the biggest configuration. And of course, the battery size goes up as the capacity or as the device can actually handle more, up to the 5,000 and starting at the 4,300 milliampere. 25 watt charging to 45 on the Plus and the Ultra. But we're going to start off with talking about some of the main functional options that we have in here. The first station I'm going to talk about is the super zoom. And that allows us to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. And all of those are using the lenses on the back with the upgraded camera system that we have so that we have optical zoom functionalities on every single one. We're definitely going to be testing that out, but at least from the demo that we saw in here, we really didn't lose any actual specifically details anywhere, even all the way up to the 10x. So the ability of actually getting clear images up to that level is really, really good. Where it goes super crazy is when we start using the super zoom functionality. Some of the implementations that we have in here to be able to stabilize the camera as you're shooting at long distances, when you get that nice little orange kind of a box on the camera side on the top right, and then taking some of those images, and the one that we were doing the demo with was that little succulent that we had in there, and it was able to sharpen the image from that 100x zoom functionality. So not only are you going to be able to get functional images, but they're going to be AI enhanced in there, and most of this functionalities that we're talking about today are going to be running on device, with the exception of a couple of functions that we're going to get a chance to check those out. But between those two, those are absolutely fantastic. And then the other thing that we have in there in the Gallery app is some of the functions that are also being seen maybe on other devices. But the biggest thing obviously that we see here is the ability of actually taking an image and removing a shadow. The recommendations are so natural now. You go into the application, open up an image and hit the little information button. And then from there, the system actually recognizes that this image has a few recommendations, maybe removing a shadow, maybe removing some reflections that are on a subject. And as we saw there with the lady that had the reflection on the glass, it was able to remove it and fill in that space with AI. And of course, when we were looking at the gentleman with the shadows that are straight on his face, it overexposed the image a little bit, but it gave us a clearer image of what his face looks like, which is very functional. The last thing is something that we've seen, again, this is in collaboration with what Google's been doing, is where they're able to actually analyze the frame, punch out of the frame, and then start filling in the external parts of that using the AI functionality. But not only that, she was also able to move the subject from the left side, looking all the way like he's on top of the rock, shrunk his size and put him at the top. Again, all of that was running from partially on device with the edits that we have built in, of course, all the way to online when it's starting to use some of that generative fill. But all of those things are absolutely fantastic. And the cool thing is, it doesn't have to be shot on a Galaxy. You can have somebody send you an image and you can do all of those edits and send it back to them and look like you put it in Photoshop and just did all that work very nicely. One of the most coolest functions that they showed me here. And that's the ability of using basically algorithms or AI functionalities to basically transfer a 4K 30 or 30 frames per second video shot on the S24 or even transferred over, or even a 60 frames per second video up to 120 frames per second by using AI functionalities. Meaning you open up your Gallery app, you bring up the video in front of you, and as it's playing, you press and hold, and it allows it to actually run that slow motion function. Now, the really nice thing about it, by default, it goes to 1/4 speed, so that's one of the better functions, but the option also gets enhanced as you go into the edits, because you're able to keep that slow motion area that you put in there as you were previewing it, obviously trim the video, edit it, do whatever you want to do it, and then export it as a new clip with that said functionality built in. all straight from the gallery and making it very simple to share with friends. Because at the end of the day, it's about simplicity. What can we do on our device to make our life easier and simpler and transfer that content to social media, to friends and family, without having to jump through too many hoops? One of the other things that I really like about this is that, again, it's on device. It's very nice to see these functions and these capabilities provided to us on device, because whenever you're traveling, like I do all the time, internet connectivity is not always great. So out of everything that we talked about today, only a couple of things are internet-based. Some of the AI built-in functions to their messaging app, to their notes app, transcribing functionality with an audio recorder, as well as the function of actually using circle to search, something that they're bringing in that not only works with the S Pen, but also works by holding the home button if you're using the home functionality, and be able to circle on any image that's on your display, be it in a video, even in your gallery, and the ability of finding out what it is. The demo that they showed me was pretty much going to be done on two separate sections. We had him in New York, basically an image of New York. The other image that he did was literally a picture he just took of one of the other staff members here. They took a picture of their shoes, and we were able to just do a Google search and figure out exactly where those shoes are. And if I'd like to get my own pair, it works absolutely great. So that was really simple, very easy, works across all the 24, 24 Plus, as well as the 24 Ultra. The next couple of things are also functional, and then some of them are in collaboration with Google, because you may notice some of them are very similar. The first one we're going to talk about is the recorder application, which also has built-in transcription options. But not only that, the ability of summarizing, detailed summarizing, transcribing it, as well as translating it. All of those things are built in, and it translates over to the messaging app, which really makes it functional, especially if you're texting with somebody that does not speak English. So one of the options that we saw in there, he opened up a chat message. We were able to translate it over to Spanish, and it was actually continuing as I'm typing and sending a message. It translates it, sends it over to them, or translates the entire conversation. And it's very functional, very much on device. That's the biggest thing that I love about this. Prior to this, most devices have always been using online or internet connected thing. And there is a few functions here, like the circle to search, obviously, that's a web search. It's gonna run online. But the functionalities with integration with some of the Google features make it so that Samsung devices now have on-device functionalities. So the translation, again, goes into the Messages app, and where it goes into the notes, where it becomes very nice. But before I leave that translation, my favorite feature is, let's say you're sending a message and you want to be able to compose it for a specific person, like an audience member that you want to be able to talk to. And what I'm talking about is you want to send a message that's maybe a little bit more polite. You want to send a message that's a little bit maybe more friendly, or even a message that has social media hashtags, because you're going to post it on social media. Actually, even down to the point of using even emojis. If you have one of those family members that speaks in emojis, you're going to be able to do this using the built-in AI functions, and it'll basically transcribe and translate that conversation, keeping the point, but rewriting it for you, and makes it easy to insert. The notes function becomes very nice, because if you use notes, especially if you like to customize them, it is very much similar translation, transcribing options, also detailing and highlighting functionality, changing the cover of it. All the functions that we have in there translate over, and they're on device, and it's absolutely fantastic. So the 24 series is definitely going to carry this. From what I hear, the S23 series, even the FE functions, are going to get some of these. How much? I'm not sure, but at least they were telling us that at least before the end of the first half of 2024, the S23 series will have all those functionalities. So 24 is going to be great. It's going to be launching with these, with One UI 6.1 and all of these AI functionalities. Now we're going to do the live translation demo. This is an absolutely amazing function that is built on device with Samsung devices. Translates languages directly from both English to other languages. I think, if I'm mistaken, that there's Spanish, Vietnamese. There's also different accents of Spanish. So there's like Catalan, as well as, South American Spanish. So a lot of good functional options in here, and it's done on device as you're making the call. And what I really like about this is that you don't actually have to have the display on to see the translation. If you're using buds, you're able to get the audio, the audio cue when you're getting into it. So therefore, you know what the person's saying. And then as soon as they're done talking, you respond. It translates the conversation to them. It does slow down the conversation, but it makes it so that you don't have to learn the language. And if you're traveling, on-device functionalities, absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't hope that at some point Arabic will be supported here, but definitely a very good language base that starts on devices. And of course, hopefully this function does translate over to the S23 Ultra series or the S23 series as well, as some of the AI functions we're told are going to be coming over there. We're going to take a look at some of the colors available for, this is the Plus edition. So we have this brand new color, very nice, very colorful, somewhat of a more of a, kind of like almost a goldish color. We have purple, gold, and of course we have the standard colors that we've seen before. Again, these are the Plus. We should be able to translate. There's going to be other colors And I think the hue on the color between the devices is going to be a little bit different as well, depending on the version that you're holding. One of the favorite spots of every single Unpacked I've been to has been the accessories section, because first-party accessories are always going to be the best. This year, Samsung brought in some functions that we saw last year with the Z Flip series when we were in Korea, where those little magnetic covers on the back that allow us to have a somewhat of a custom theme that is as easy as applying that little back on it, and it makes its functional option there. They had one from Venom, they had one from National Geographic, they had one from Mickey. They had also so many other options in there that Marvel as well. And it becomes so nice that you can actually swap them out, and your cover screen, or your basically live wallpaper for your lock screen, automatically gets updated by changing the cover. And of course, they have a nice custom case that allows us kind of more of a bumper case with an open back. So you get the protection from the cover on the back, and of course you have your display covered on the front if you put in a glass protector. But what I really like about this is we have first-party accessories that are absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to find some of these things, and hopefully they do come into the US market. Last year when we were in Korea, most of them were in Asia, but I hope this time we definitely get those in here. There's obviously grip cases, hard silicone cases, very easy to use, customizable colors. All the options that I'm sharing with you guys that I see from this video will be available through Samsung and hopefully third-party sellers as well. But it's nice to see having that much accessory options here using these cases from Samsung. First-party accessories, again, always the best. With everything that I'm sharing with you guys, of course, there's a lot more to cover. Obviously, the S24 series are featuring some of the latest technologies from Qualcomm, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and it is going to be different in the European market. It's going to be Exynos. This is one of those years where they've decided to go back to Exynos internationally, and of course, I think if I'm not mistaken, I can't speak for Korea, but at least in the US, the 24 series is going to be running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Some of the functionalities that we looked in here are going to be translating over to the S23 series, the FE series, probably within the first half of the year, maybe by the time they get the One UI 6.1, as all of these devices are launching with 6.1, and all the other devices, the 23 series, have been upgraded to 6.0. So there is a point difference, and I'm assuming that 0.1 brings in that AI. If you got my joke with the I and the 1, I'm sure you did. But the overall functionalities are absolutely great. Most of them are on device, and that is very nice, and I like that, because it allows us to do more without having to rely on internet connectivity, especially when we're in areas where there isn't that well of an internet connectivity. If you're going to do searches, let's say online searches and so on with a circle to search, obviously that requires internet connectivity. If you're using generative AI where it's filling in information, it does need internet. And I think those are the two that they recommended, or at least they said will include those functionalities. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to get into something that shows off the latest and greatest from Samsung, the S24 series is obviously going to be basically hitting it out of the park. The S24 Plus and Ultra are featuring the faster charging, bigger capacity batteries, although about 100 milliampere difference between each one. But the biggest thing, of course, is that the Ultra is going to give you all of those best improved experience when it comes down to the cameras on the back of the device. All devices feature the same AI functionalities, and of course, some new technologies with the vapor chamber for gaming, fast charging, large displays, cameras, 4K resolution, and of course, so much more things coming in. I can't wait to see more stuff come in to the S24 series. So my hope is that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the new series? And if you're thinking of picking up one for your own, make sure to check out the link in the description to get a discount, as well as get some of the best deals on the brand new series, the S24 series from Samsung, from your local retailer. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. I'll see you probably using an S24 series by then in the next video.